shorty, what your name is? Do you have a man who you came with?
I'm gonna turn it off.
Boom. All right, y'all. Well, welcome back to Street Academy Podcast, where we keep 1 foot in the academy and 1 foot in the streets. And we back, and we back, and we back. What's good? What's good, Dr. Hater? Well, as y'all can see, first and foremost, we are missing one.
Yeah.
So yeah, Amber K had she couldn't make it this episode. So we gonna hold it down. The dynamic duo.
Listen, I was saying this is the hater episode. We just gonna talk about stuff and we gonna hate on it. That's what it needs to be.
That's all we about to do. We about to just hate. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We just about to talk about stuff and just hate on people.
Listen, I'm ready.
Yeah. Before we get into it, how was the week? You know what I mean? How's everything going in your life so far? I think the last episode was maybe like 2 weeks ago. So
was it? It feels like it was just yesterday, but everything feels like it was just yesterday.
Right.
So, wild times out here, realizing that I got to the last unit for my classes. So I'm like, wow, the semester is really about to come to an end.
Right.
And then I will not be like a new professor anymore. I will at least have a semester under my belt.
Listen.
Yeah.
Wow. With everything happening so fast, does it feel like you finally been able to catch a break or
no
get a breather?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I'm just making it to the end of the semester, and maybe hopefully over winter break I could feel like I'm like organized and going into the next semester. You could tell me if I'll ever feel like I'm organized going into like the next semester, but that's my hope for the spring. And I'm just kind of excited about teaching some of these new classes. I think I told you I'm teaching like that gender class next semester. I'm really excited about it.
You told me about the educational psych and you was like, I don't know if we should say this. I'll edit it out if I need to, but you was like, I don't know nothing about psychology.
I don't know.
Professor.
I don't know, Nan.
Learning with everybody else. Read chapters ahead.
Maybe that. I'm like 2 pages ahead.
Don't ask me nothing past page 95.
No. No. And so I'm teaching a gender class next semester, and apparently it hasn't been taught in a while. Like I think long enough so that none of the students on campus have taken a gender class.
Oh.
In the department at least.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So, how is your life?
My life.
I forgot you got a song for everything.
Everything.
Yes.
I keep a song in my heart.
Amen.
Keep a song in my heart. One thing I learned from Sabbath school.
Yes.
Just working, man, working hard. That's about it. I'm excited about the break. I'm supposed to go to North Carolina around the Thanksgiving holidays. So I booked a ticket through like a third, those like third party.
Like Expedia or something? Like Expedia or something?
Yeah. Like an Expedia or something like that. Like I booked a ticket and so I'm like, all right, cool. And then it never charged to my credit card. So I was like, I wonder if this is a legit site. And this is like a last minute ticket because, family, they be changing. They be like, okay, we're going to do this. Okay, we're not going to. And I like getting my tickets early. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
I like getting them early. And when people be changing, I'm like, listen, with flights every day, it could go
exactly.
Other. And now the flights is like stupid expensive. And I want to go. I want to be with my family. But I'm like, listen, if that thing didn't go through, then I know the flight's gonna be crazy now. So I may not be able to. So I'm still waiting to see if they actually charge my credit card. But I guess that's the thing with those like third party flights, because some of them be shady and you don't know which ones.
Did you get any kind of confirmation email or
I
anything?
did get a confirmation email, and it's an itinerary.
Oh,
But it said in the email, this is not an e-ticket. This is
yeah.
just an itinerary. But they gave it to me,
Mm-hmm.
but they never charged my credit card.
That's,
So I'm like, is this thing gonna really go through?
I don't know. You might need to call the airline and be like, do I have a confirmed seat?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna call. But y'all be careful with them third party. I know they be cheaper. You know, you can find them cheap flights, but then sometimes they be shady.
Very shady.
They be slim shady.
Very shady. Very shady. Let me just get my hate out right quick on Expedia because I booked a rental car. This was at the wedding. Like, I just had so much running around to do like the day before. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get a rental car. And then as I was talking to Kunle, actually, he was like, oh no, we have this car already, like we'll just coordinate schedules.
Right.
So literally, like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes after I booked the car, I canceled it and there was supposed to be no cancellation fee. And sure enough, I got a cancellation fee on my credit card. And here's the thing about some of these fees. Like, some of them, it's like, do you want to spend the time? Like, is the fee little enough that you want to spend the time? So the fee was $50, which in my mind, that's like not a little piece of like, I want my $50 back.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I called, I sat on hold, I called, I sat on hold, I emailed, got no response. And at a certain point, it's like, all right, it's 50. Like, have I spent $50 worth of time already trying to get this $50 back? Do I still want to pursue it? So I never got my $50 back. But I will say, Expedia.
Expedia.
Y'all, let me catch you in the street.
If you
I am bucking and bucking and ready to go right now.
Ready to taking my dreads.
Yes.
They got that 50 up out you.
They sure did. And it always makes me think, like, if you got that $50 out of me, like, how many other people did you get $50 from? And that's why your prices, like your what do you call that? Your profits are sky high because you out here cheating people.
So y'all hear that? Expedia, take them off your list. If we see you in the streets, it's on site.
On site. Immediately
It's on site. Ain't nothing to talk about.
Ain't no discussion.
Ain't no discussion. Ain't no words needed. You know what I'm talking about?
That's it.
Expedia and your homeboy Spirit Airlines. That's a whole nother conversation. But I had a real bad experience with Spirit Airlines.
Listen, I've heard people have horrible experiences with Spirit. My experience have been bad enough that it's like, if it's between Spirit and not going, guess who's staying home?
That's right. That's real. That's right. I will not fly Spirit.
No.
I will not. The only way I will fly Spirit is if I don't have luggage and it's same day. And I just have to go somewhere real quick.
And come back.
It's like same day. Yeah. That's the only way. And I don't have no luggage. That's the only way.
I just don't trust them.
I just don't trust it.
Yeah, they just be canceling. They just be doing what they want.
Yeah. Spirit. It's two people that I hate in this world. I don't hate. God say don't hate. But I feel like Black Jesus will forgive me. It's Spirit Airlines and Stephen A. Smith. I like things. I just don't. They on the same level to me. Stephen A. Smith and Spirit Airlines.
I always get, I am not a sports person. I know that there's Stephen A. Smith and then there's Shannon Sharp.
Oh, Shannon Sharp. I like Shannon Sharp.
Yes. And I think I love Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
And people just are like, I hate Stephen Smith, but I always confuse them. And I'm always like, is the one I like Stephen or is the one I like Shannon?
Stephen, are they both bald? No, Shannon got hair. I think Shannon got a little bit of hair on the top, but Stephen's all bald. I know you like Shannon. I couldn't see you liking Stephen A. Smith. I couldn't.
No, I know. Like, again, these podcasts that we were listening to over the weekend, one of them was with Shannon Sharp, and he's just hilarious to me.
Shannon Sharp is funny. I like Shannon. Yeah,
I would like to be in a room with him. Just he can.
Yeah. I like Shannon Sharp. Cool, y'all. Well, you know what? We done went off topic and on topic. You already know what's gonna happen with this episode. We're gonna be all over the place. It don't matter. We're just gonna go. So typically, Amber's actually the one who organizes. She's very good at organizing us because me and Jackie realized that we just go in
everywhere.
Amber knows how to keep us within the time frame and all of that. So
that's not about to happen.
That's not about to happen this episode. So I don't even know what the first segment is. The first segment is the
let's talk about Travis. Oh, that no, off the Georgia Dome. We just hating on stuff.
Oh yeah, we just hating on stuff. Episode is off the Georgia Dome.
No,
episode of the Georgia Dome.
Let's get into it. We're supposed to be talking about Travis Scott first.
Okay. All right, cool.
Everything that's going down with him. Now, I don't know all the details. I know, some of the details. We'll put our details together. But we know that there was the music festival that was going down in Houston. And apparently it went left. And some people ended up losing their lives behind it. What I heard that it might have been 8 people, and all of them were 30 or younger, and the youngest victim was 10. And so several other people were injured. So people are trying to get treatment for whatever injuries they may have.
Right.
And I heard the first lawsuit has come out behind this, and I imagine there'll probably be several more. It looks like the city of Houston is trying to cover themselves because they're out here with reports saying, well, we done had the police speak to Mr. Scott here and tell him that we had our concerns about this event. And so whatever happened is on him. So don't even bring that noise to the city of Houston. So they are already putting that out there. And I mean, honestly, if I were some sort of city leader, I might be trying to do the same thing as far as this was a private event. We done told him that he needed to do X, Y, and Z. These are our concerns. And so if there was an issue, you need to take that up with him and whoever he has.
So they make
I'm not saying I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying from the political perspective, I see what they're trying to do and I get why they're trying to do it.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's wild. You know what? As far as I know, everything you just said was what happened. It was just a concert that went wild. The interesting thing that I heard was that people are now saying that rap music and hip hop is like the new punk rock of the 80s and 90s. So back in the 80s and in the early 90s, those kinds of things happened at Guns N' Roses concerts, at Korn concerts, at Kiss concerts, right? Those kinds of things happen. People, white kids going crazy, doing drugs, doing mosh pits, and just stuff that we saw growing up, and we was like, these white people crazy. You go to a hip hop concert, you go to a Travis Scott concert, you might go to the Baby concert, and they doing the same thing.
Well, question from the elderly who don't be going to these things. My assumption is that the audience is predominantly white at these events.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So my guess would be maybe there were young white people in the audience at Guns N' Roses and all these different people before, and now they just moseyed on over and are doing the same behaviors that they did at those other concerts.
At rap concerts.
Yeah.
Because and what they were saying was that maybe rap is the new punk rock, because kids don't really listen to punk rock like that no more. So now that hip hop is the number one genre in the world, hip hop has now become the new punk rock. So they're taking that same energy, that same, same, like you say, behavior, and just bringing it to, and not to say rap concerts was like, too much better, stuff will happen at rap concerts too. But it seemed like for something like this, like 8 people dying and all of that, that's not typical of a hip hop concert.
I don't feel like it is. I mean, the only thing I could say is like some stereotypical, like, oh, they were shooting or something like that. And I don't even know like how fully accurate that is in comparison to other forms of music where people are, just doing whatever.
Right.
But I mean, I'm just kind of torn as far as like how much responsibility and liability like this artist has as, I guess the what do you call it? Like the premier act or like the headliner or like the organizing act or whatever. And it kind of, I don't know, it kind of gives me Fire Festival vibes. I mean, a little bit different, obviously.
The Jeff Atkins, my dude. Shout out to Ja, man. We don't give Ja enough love, man.
You know what? He's not getting it. Because I watched both them documentaries and I was like, this is a hot mess. Got these wealthy white kids out here eating enriched white bread with nothing on it, drinking Dasani. Those wealthy white people were beside themselves.
Oh my gosh, that Fire Festival, man. I don't know what was it, but you know what? He said it wasn't his fault. He said it wasn't his fault. He said he got the wins. He was the face of it, but
no, that's the thing.
Details of it.
Well, whoever his little partner was, the white scammer, he was definitely a scammer. Like he ran that scam. He could not wait to return to the States, start yet another scam. I think he started another scam like a week after he landed, or like 2 weeks after. He is a scammer through and through. But I mean, the simple fact that Ja Rule was like, trying to absolve himself of like, hey, this ain't on me. It just kind of makes me think about this situation. I don't know if they're just like entertainers, rappers, whatever, both Black, whatever, who were just like putting on this event. But again, like, I'm just like, should Travis Scott like be trying to absolve himself of responsibility in the same way? Like, how much responsibility should he carry for this, both financially and like ethically?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because you can't, as an artist, I mean, you do have to know that the bigger you get, the more, like you have to know how big you are and then be able to respond. You see what I'm saying? Like Drake can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna do a pop-up at where no, that can't work for me. I'm too big of an artist. I have to have certain things in place. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to recognize who you are and then act accordingly. And not on some cocky tip, but you just know, like, yo, I sell this many records, I sell this many tickets. I need to make sure people are safe. I need to have these parameters in place. At the same time, you can't control every single thing at your concert. You got to focus on sound. You got to focus on your performance. You got to focus on the music and, your band or the background and all these other things you got to focus on. You don't really have time to focus on, what's happening on the ground. And, again, some people think, well, the police should have been the one. Some people think, well, whatever security Travis Scott has or whatever team he has to secure the grounds, but how can you do that for however many people, 50,000 people or wherever that might have been at that concert,
Right.
And so I wouldn't really put the blame all on him. I also probably wouldn't put the blame all on the cops either, because from what I heard, they actually let out more people, more police officers. They what did they say? They actually deployed. Was it deployed or dispatched?
It could be either, I think.
I think it's dispatched. They actually dispatched more police
Oh,
officers for that
I think it
event.
is dispatched. I think deploy is for military.
Military, yeah, dispatch. They actually dispatched more police officers for that event than they did for the World Series game or something like that.
Which, by the way, this is an aside for this is an aside. You know, if they are dispatching that many police and that many police still can't keep people safe, then what exactly do we need police for? Like, maybe we need to think of some other alternatives. But we're not on the serious tip today. We on the mess today. So please keep it going.
Hey, we might need to bring that, but I mean that's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, they supposedly had dispatched all them, and then they had some other security, like another 100 and something member security. So all of that, and they still couldn't protect all those people. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. I don't know if Travis Scott is getting scapegoated in the way that he is because of the type of artist he is, because he is a dark-skinned Black man who embodies this quote unquote urban style of music, right, quote unquote urban culture, as opposed to, I don't know, what's the Taylor Swift? Like, if something happened at her concert, would people be like, "Oh, poor Taylor,"
right,
or these wild people?
Oh, absolutely. They'll be like, "Oh, the police weren't doing their job."
Yeah,
they would be wanting to fire the police. Oh yeah, for sure. They're definitely gonna blame it on hip hop and hip hop culture, because this is a culture that promotes violence and gets people. I mean, the same thing they've been saying about Black music for years. You know what I'm saying? When something happens, so that's how I feel they would look at that.
Well, speaking of toxic cultures.
You're not gonna be shooting no subliminals at my look. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all about how messy Jackie is. She's subtweeting right now.
Who am I subtweeting? Let him know. Who is a toxic culture?
Subtweeting my guy. Right? She's subtweeting my guy. The incomparable. Born out of Atlanta, Georgia. Raised in Chicago, Illinois. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, y'all, it's been a great episode. I hope y'all have. Oh, yes. Yes, let's talk about the artist formerly known as Mr. Kardashian.
Kanye.
He just 1K short. Just 1K short of. No. I mean, he's basically right there. He done changed his white hood to a red hat. He almost there.
He almost there. Listen, I'ma just start by saying I have a bias. I've always said I do have a bias for creatives in general. And I have a bias for rappers, hip hop artists, hip hop music, hip hop culture. I'm a fan. I'm a student. I love it. So sometimes I do make concessions for rap artists that I typically would not make concessions for with other people. So it is true. I do. And so
thank you for that disclaimer, because that is important to know.
That's the one thing they teach us in research: eliminate your bias by just coming out with it at the very front. This is my bias. I'm this. Yes. I'm that. So
basically, what you're saying is Kanye West is toxic, and that's like an established fact. Everything we say, we can loop back to that if needed.
No. I don't think Kanye is toxic. We need to have a toxic episode, and we need to have on there. when we have our toxic.
Oh Lord.
That's the teaspoon himself.
A pot spoon. A pot spoon. He's a pot spoon of pot
Listen,
spoon.
if y'all don't know, Dr. Hader has pledged her life to the most toxic.
My goodness.
Of toxics. So I am excited to see. So if he's the pot spoon, then when y'all have kids, that's gonna be the teaspoon of toxic.
I gotta counterbalance it.
That's gonna be the teaspoon right there. The little babies, the little juniors.
Hopefully, they could be toxic to stuff like white supremacy and not toxic to whatever other normal stuff there is.
Listen, I don't know if so Kanye, okay, so we know, right? First of all, what we getting ready to talk about, the Drink Champs episode. I did watch it in its entirety. Jackie, did you watch it?
I just heard about it.
Okay.
And I heard about it from the second most toxic person, which is Joe Budden.
Now Joe is toxic for sure. Joe is absolutely toxic. I will give you that. Joe is toxic. So there are some people I would say Future is toxic. I agree with you on that. I still like his music. I still listen to it, but his Future is absolutely toxic. You know, Joe Budden for sure is toxic. Who else is toxic?
Is the female Future, as they call her?
Oh, Jada. Oh, we getting ready. Yo, I'm trying to hold on, but she about to be over there, Jackie. I know that. You want to hold it down for the black women. I love.
Listen, we will get there. Okay, I do think that you hold it down for your toxic individual, Kanye, Klux, Kardashian, and then we'll get to Jada.
These niggas be here, bro. They'd be so good. Okay, Kanye, Ku Klux Kardashian. That's funny as hell.
You're in it right. I'm like, ooh, that's funny.
So I gotta hold it down for Kanye. Kanye.
Okay, what did he say? Yes, what did he say on this episode?
So I gotta save myself first because I'm about to spend the next.
Oh Lord, okay.
So first I gotta say some things that's gonna keep y'all from jumping down my throat. I don't agree with MAGA. I don't agree with the red hat out the gate. All that mess he was saying about slavery was a choice. I obviously disagree with all of that. I was on everybody's team when it came to that.
And that's where it ends for me. I'm like, we all need to give this man no more attention post that.
Right. But see, that's the thing. But that's not where it ends for me because I was such a fan of his music and his message prior to that. And so because Kanye made me love him so much from Blueprint and College Dropout and all the underground stuff he did with Talib and Common and Consequent, he like the music is just so I go back and listen to it and I'm like, yo, this music is so good. It's so good. And so because he made me love him so much with that, when he got to the, you know, he did Watch the Throne and Watch the Throne is like one of the most pro-black albums, mainstream albums you will ever listen to. Like it started the whole black wealth conversations that are popular now. It started with Watch the Throne back in like 2010, 2011. Well, so he was like,
I'm not on the black wealth bandwagon. So you like, so that's why even if he came out with Watch the Throne, which I don't even think I listened. I think the last Kanye album that I listened to, like, and would still listen to today is probably Graduation.
Graduation's an incredible album. Yeah.
And anything before there's only like one, maybe two before Graduation.
Yeah, it's like two before Graduation. So okay, because him and Jay-Z, they were definitely on a black capitalist type idea, but they were also saying a lot of things. I don't know. I was rocking with it because I'm definitely cool with black wealth, not obviously all forms of capitalism and that sort of thing. But I do think that the way in which they were discussing it, I was rocking with most of it.
It's hard for me being somebody who, born in Brooklyn, saw Brooklyn transition over time to a place where even if I wanted to stay, I couldn't. And then to hear Jay-Z start talking about like Black wealth in this way, I'm like, I don't see Black wealth. What I see is Black people having stuff and then gentrification coming in and taking over, and then like a very small amount of Black people having things, whereas what Black people used to have is now controlled by white people who are literally like colonizing the culture.
And do you feel like Jay-Z is part of that?
Yeah, with the nets and stuff, like how the way Brooklyn looks now, I don't know, it's like something out of, if gentrification had a magazine, Brooklyn would take out most of the ads. And yeah, it doesn't look or feel like a place that, now granted, there are still pockets, kind of like Atlanta. Like Atlanta has gentrified quite a lot over like, the last several years, but there's still pockets, and there are probably pockets that won't change for a really long time. And some of those pockets are like Black wealth. And so, yeah, I
mean, I to stay there for a second, I know when I went to Brooklyn for the first time in 2019, and I went to a party out there, and I thought for sure, I'm thinking when I hear Brooklyn, I automatically go back to 90s and what I grew up on and the movies I saw. So I was like, okay, I gotta be hood. I gotta be ready. I gotta be ready for Brooklyn. You don't know what's gonna happen. I gotta make a shake. I had a pocket full of toothpicks, but I was like, I gotta be ready to shake a nigga. I gotta be ready. I gotta be ready. Man, I went to this, man. This was one of the nicest places. I was like, this is not the Brooklyn that I saw.
Yes. Not at all.
Reasonable doubt. This does not look like Marcy Projects. This looks like Macy's Macy's Projects.
What's so wild? Nice. They have turned so many housing projects into like condos.
Yeah.
Which is like wild to think about, but
I mean, it was so not like, I saw like big houses because I'm thinking Brooklyn is, it's gonna be concentrated and all these people living in these, whatever. And the house that I went to was big. It looked like houses in the West End, like the nice part of the West End.
What neighborhood you were in?
Wrap around. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I have to ask somebody. But it was like wraparound porches, and it was just beautiful. And then we went to a club out there later. So I'm like, okay, the club
in the same neighborhood?
No, it might have been
like further
10,
out,
10-15 minutes away, but it was still in Brooklyn. And it was like it was, I wouldn't say a hood club. It was a hip hop club. So it was like in some looked like a big warehouse with like different rooms, but it was like chill. It wasn't what you would think of the Brooklyn that like how it was painted back in the day. So I was like, man, I would love to. I mean, I probably couldn't even afford to live here, but it was really, really nice. But then when I went to other parts of New York, when I went to the Bronx, I was like, oh, they haven't cleaned this place up since they founded hip hop, because it still look like it's 1978. You know what I'm saying?
It's the last frontier.
Yeah,
Brooklyn is too unaffordable, so people are starting to venture into the Bronx now.
Yeah, so like when you were talking about that gentrification, that's real, because I didn't. What was said about it, and then what I saw was two totally different Brooklyn for sure.
Now, granted, there are neighborhoods in Brooklyn that just have been wealthy and whatever for pre-gentrification, but I don't know if that was the neighborhood that you were in. So
yeah, I gotta ask them. I gotta ask the people who I was with where that was, but I can understand that, because like kind of going back to Kanye, like I get that. For you, it's kind of like, okay, Jay, you talking about, you know, handing down wealth and all this, but you're talking about your already upper class black. Because I think about the fact that Rihanna, I think I saw a meme that talked about like the black billionaires right now. And they had Jay-Z up there, Kanye, Rihanna, Tyler Perry, something like that, and talked about how all these people didn't graduate college, right? And so, you know, talked about education, all this other kind of stuff. I didn't agree necessarily with the meme, but I get what they was talking about. But what I saw was that all these people, to some degree, except for Tyler Perry, were connected to Jay-Z. Kanye was signed to Jay-Z, Rihanna, you know, and Jay-Z. Yeah. I don't know if they were label mates or what, but you know, they work closely together. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, Jay-Z is teaching other black people how to be billionaires. So
he said that he was gonna give y'all some game for free 99 or something like that. Didn't he? So there you go. That's
how I looked at it. But now that you mention it, that's really a good point. You actually being from that city, you can see the harm in some of the stuff that maybe Jay-Z's participated in.
And it's wild because he does have like that line on I guess it's 444 where he's like, oh yeah, something about old Brooklyn, like not this new stuff that's out here. And I'm like, oh, but you did this. Yeah. So,
but sometimes, well, okay. But isn't black gentrification better than white gentrification? Because at least with at least if Jay-Z is going to take over the neighborhood and change it, he may keep some of the cultural landmarks. Like, look, I know why this is important. We're going to keep this, you know, all right, if we're going to open these businesses, I need to make sure that a certain amount of them are black owned. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, wherein white folks is just going, you know, they going white folk. You know what I'm saying? They going to do what they do, you know, but with black, at least with, I don't know, it's almost like, well, if it's inevitable, I would rather Jay-Z gentrify it than, you know, Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? Or,
I mean, my question is like, better for who, and like better to what end? I feel like when I think about gentrification and like Black people coming in and gentrifying, my first thought isn't necessarily Jay-Z, even though he obviously played like a part in how downtown Brooklyn looks with like the stadium and all that stuff now. And to be fair, like I'm not putting it all on him. Like he was one of several players in that. But I honestly think about T.I. and Killer Mike and what they're doing, and what they're doing on like the west side of Atlanta, like Bankhead and all that area, how they're just like buying up property, and their idea is to not necessarily, their idea is to be like, oh, since gentrification is coming, since it's inevitable, like let's position ourselves to be the Black gentrifiers. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, if I'm living in that neighborhood and someone comes to me and says, well, you can no longer live in your house or your property taxes have gone up like exponentially, it doesn't matter to me if the person saying it is Black or white or other. I think a Black gentrifier who preserves like some sort of cultural iconography in my neighborhood, that's cool and all, but can I still like live in my house? Like, can I still like do these things? Will I be displaced while this cultural iconography remains and still has like white people coming in? Because in capitalism, like capitalism, of course, is built off the back of Black people. Right. So at some point, like as a gentrifier, as a capitalist, like you're cooperating with white people. So even if it's like a couple steps removed, like that whiteness, that white supremacy is still infiltrating at some level, whether you get to it immediately or not.
That's actually a really good point. I actually didn't look at what Killer Mike and T.I. was doing as being part of that, but but I mean, you're right, because I guess with Killer Mike, I the first thing I think about is the swag shop, right? Off of Edgewood, and how he started this barbershop. He's had like town halls there, and he's brought celebrities there, and he's brought so much good to this Black owned business, and he's giving people jobs and all this other kind of stuff. But at the same time, you're right. If you're talking about, if you're doing this with like all these different properties, the idea is that if you're a Black gentrifier, you'll be less likely to force somebody out of their home, or you'll bring the price down a little bit more than a white person to make it more affordable. Because I think that's what T.I. and Tiny, when I know they just bought that big old plot of land or something, and the point was to create affordable housing. So that was the idea. But yeah, I never looked at it. I like that, but that's a really good point. And so you feel like they're kind of doing to Atlanta what Jay-Z did in Brooklyn. Wow.
I mean, I am not putting this all on their laps. Like, they have a ton of help. They have developers, they have like whole machines that are in the same, I don't know, train as them, the same bus, whatever form of transportation they're using, the same Maserati, I don't know. But I think some of the best evidence for it to me came from that press conference they did with the mayor when they got up there as Black people were rioting. Oh yeah. As they were protesting.
I agree with you on this. Yeah.
As they were protesting behind like the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, when they got up there and they were like, this isn't Atlanta, like we don't do that here. Y'all need to go home and, basically stop all that.
That was BS.
Yeah, but I'm like, but y'all are protecting your interest, like you're protecting your class interest.
For sure.
You're not like at some point, like your class interests cooperate with whiteness. Like it's inevitable.
Yeah. And I don't even think Stacey Abrams is completely absolved from that as well. That's a whole conversation.
How was she involved in that?
Not that part, but then when it went down to taking what was it? Because they got mad at the Braves. They booed the
recently?
Yeah, they got mad at the Braves.
I do not pay attention to no kind of sport.
Well, so I think it was like I guess he's the kind of like the commissioner, like of the NBA, like the person over the MLB, Major League Baseball Association. But when they removed the, I think, All-Star game or something from Atlanta, it was supposed to be in Atlanta. It was supposed to bring all of this businesses and all this money to Atlanta. And Stacey Abrams, even though she disagreed with the voting acts
that's right,
was saying that wasn't the way to go, right? We still need to think about Atlanta. We need to think about the city. Like, well, wait a minute now. Like, that seems kind of contradictory to the message you've been pushing. You know what I'm saying? Like what's gonna come first?
Right.
Is the city gonna come first or the people? Like, what is it gonna be? You know what I'm saying? But you can't have both.
Right.
That's just what it is. And so people were coming down on folks like Will Smith and others who were starting to pull their resources and pull their support out of Georgia and out of Atlanta, because of that. And so when I saw Stacey Abrams do that, and I'm Queen Stacey. I love the good sister. I'm a huge supporter. I love Killer Mike. I love listen.
I do love her.
I love Killer Mike. I love Tip. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do. But we gotta critique when it's time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And we gotta be real. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I get it.
Absolutely.
We gotta, and that's why it's hard for me to do this. It is hard for me to get on my boy, Kanye, because I do love him.
Okay.
I do. I know we went like way off.
Listen, we taking the scenic route.
we go where we listen. If you rock with us, you rock with us.
Amber, come back and gather us, please.
You already know. We just go No, it don't
It's
matter.
about to be a 2-week long episode.
Hey, look, we're gonna log off and then it's gonna be Thanksgiving dinner ready.
Basically.
Episode. But no, like, yeah, like Kanye, I mean, same thing, you know what I'm saying? I love him, but you gotta critique him. I know you asked like what were some of the things he said. Obviously, I'm not with the MAGA hat, I'm not with none of that stuff. But one of the things, and we were kind of talking about this before we got on. One of the things he said was, you know, he's still gonna rock the MAGA hat, but whether you agree with Trump or not, the purpose of it was to show people you can have your own mind, you can have your own thoughts, and not be pressured and not be bullied by anybody, by the Black community, by the conservative community, by the Democrats, by the Republicans. Have your own thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever works for you. And that I don't agree with supporting Trump, but I do agree with that message. I think it was a very crazy way of putting that message out. I think there could have been much better ways to do it. But I like the idea that, no, this is what I stand for, and I'm not going to let the Black community who say they're going to cancel me, or the Democrats or whoever bully me into not supporting or not doing what I think is right. And I'm very much okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've actually said something very similar. I've said this on Street Academy podcast. I've said this, and you know, on other platforms. I don't believe Black people should be beholden to the Democratic Party. I strongly believe that whether a person is a Democrat or a Republican, Black people should always vote in their interest. I strongly believe that one of the reasons why we get little to nothing from the Democratic Party is because they know that Black people are going to vote for them. I agree. I've been talking about a third party. I have voted for Republicans before, Republicans that I felt were better than a Democrat in a specific position. So I agree with him when it comes to that. And I don't think that we should be beholden to Democrats, Republicans, Trump, Biden, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He went hard on Kamala Harris. And he was like, you know, we voted for or y'all voted for Kamala and ain't seen her since the election. And I was like,
you never see vice presidents.
You don't, but
listen.
I feel bad because she's a Black woman, HBCU, aka.
Listen, I am not. I am not. I am not about to be on, like, you know, the no critique bandwagon for her at all. I do appreciate the fact that she, you know, is HBCU grad, Black woman, all of that stuff. Cool. At the same time, like, I think the critique of her needs to be fair.
Gotcha.
Her record, to me, even before coming into the office, like, she wasn't my primary candidate. For a lot of people, she wasn't their primary candidate. That's why she dropped out really early.
Right.
But I think I'm gonna critique her on some stuff that, like, feels like it makes more sense. I'm not gonna critique her on some stuff that is just kind of standard for the vice presidential, like, position. So specifically, I'm not gonna critique her for being absent, because I ain't never known a present vice president. The only vice president that I can think of right now is Joe Biden, and that's because he's president. But don't ask me to name any vice president in my lifetime. Well, maybe Pence, but that was because he literally just left. But in like 3-4 years, don't ask me to name who the vice president was. I'm not gonna remember any of these people unless they end up becoming president. But yeah, I'm not gonna critique her on that.
I mean, and I agree. You can't critique somebody because they're not visible, because it doesn't mean she's not working behind the scenes. So we don't know what Kamala Harris could be doing some great work behind the scenes that we just don't know, and the results just haven't shown yet. I don't know.
I do wish she was more visible.
I wish she was more visible, and I wish that we knew, or we had faith that she was actually speaking on behalf of the people that voted her in office, and that we could actually see where she is, pushing for certain policies that are important, like her actually getting up front and saying, yes, we support the George Floyd Act, her actually getting up front and saying, hey, we want to, extend Medicaid or something that shows that you are fighting for us, right? It doesn't mean you got to get up and give a whole town hall meeting and block off all the major channels for the next hour and a half, but just something that shows that. And like I said, she could be, but we just don't know it. And I think that's what, Kanye is, was arguing, which if we don't know, then it's hard to, have her back.
Honestly, I put that at the feet of the president who stood up and said, Black African American community, I would not have gotten here without you. I owe you. I promise to return it. And I ain't seen nan return on nan investment.
And we don't like to wait. Black people be like,
we be late, but we need you to be on time.
Sally Mae still call, or whatever she called now, still calling me every morning. You said something about the loans.
Listen, let me hate on them right quick too. I did not know. I got my student loan bill in the mail. Well, not in the mail, but in email before I got my degree in the mail. And I was like, but I thought there was like a little grace period. They're like, nah, sis. They're like, nah, sis, that's for undergrad. That's for undergrad. We don't do that.
You wrong.
They hit that Black Panther real quick. We don't do that here. That was it. I was like, all right, well, I guess I gotta. So
Biden, he said he was supposed to piece those out. So
that's what he said. I'm still looking for a lot of stuff. And my hope, I am not holding my breath.
if Kanye say he canceling student loans, you'll vote for him? Everybody got a price. Everybody got a price.
Okay, first of all, I had to think about it. And I'll tell you, Sally Mae or whoever you are now, I'm not paying y'all anyway. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna pay the bare minimum.
I'm just kidding. Please don't take my credit no lower.
Listen, I'm gonna pay. It's just gonna be the bare minimum until somebody decides to forgive these loans. And I really hope it's not Kanye, because I can't, because his running mate is gonna be Donald Trump, and I can't do that.
You say his what?
His running mate is gonna be, I can't even say his name twice in one episode. He's gonna appear like Beetlejuice. The immediate former president is gonna be his running mate. And I'm like, we can't do all that.
Nah, I can't rock with that. But yeah, so Kanye, I think overall it would honestly take like 2 or 3 episodes to go, because the Kanye West episode was like it was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours long. So it's a lot. He talked about a lot of different things. He went in on some of his friends. Okay, so now this is interesting. And then after this we can go to the next topic. But I don't know, did Joe Budden, when you listen to Joe Budden's podcast, did he talk about how Kanye went in on his friends, on John Legend and Talib Kweli? And
I vaguely remember he was saying like he don't mess with them no more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll give you the overall, like the summary, and then you tell me what you think, right? So they was talking about politics or whatever, and essentially what Kanye West said is that he don't mess with Big Sean no more. He don't mess with, and Big Sean actually signed him.
Okay.
He signed Big Sean, sorry.
Right.
He signed Big Sean when he was young, brought him in the studio, all of that. John Legend, John Legend had worked on a Lauryn Hill album, but John Legend wasn't really big until he signed the Good Music with Kanye West.
Right.
Kanye West is like, man, I don't mess with them no more. And he said the worst thing that he did was sign Big Sean. He was like, that was the worst decision I ever made. He was like, I don't mess with John Legend, even though they were supposed to be boys. And he said the reason why was because they were puppets for the Democrats. He even went at Common a little bit. And he said that Common, you know, he made like a little dig at Common, but then he kind of, you know, revived himself a little bit because he talked about how dope of an MC Common was. But he basically said, Talib Kweli, he don't mess with him no more because of the fact that when all that stuff was going down about him wearing the MAGA hat, him supporting Trump, Big Sean, Talib, and John Legend specifically was on camera, basically kind of like denouncing him and like not, you know, rocking with him. And so he was like, you know, I understand you might not agree, but he was like, you know, essentially saying, you know, for lack of a better term, that was some sucker shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna, like, I changed your life. I changed your family's life. Like, I gave you a platform. I gave you an opportunity and you turned your back on me. You know what I'm saying? Just because, and he said, I get it. You know, you got pressure. You got, you know, your label, you got fans, everybody coming at you. But he was like, yo, like, I don't like people who, you know what I'm saying, who like not loyal. And so he said, I don't mess with them until they give me an apology. And now again, obviously, I'm not a MAGA fan. I disagree with his political views as well. But from a just from a loyal standpoint, I could agree with what he was saying. Because all right, so Jackie, right? We've been cool for a long time. We build a Street Academy podcast. We've worked together. We've done all these different things together, right?
Right.
Let's say, I don't know, I help you out or something like that. I give you an opportunity that
you pay off my student loans.
I paid off your student loans. Right? Or I give you an opportunity and you make the money to pay off your student loans, right? Change your whole life. And then some years later, I be on some other stuff. I'm talking capitalism. I'm talking, you know, all kind of crazy stuff. Like, yeah, we need to do, like, I'm just on some next stuff. And people know me. You know what I'm saying? They know me, they know you, they know we rock together. And they come to you and they like, yo, what you think about, you know, wasn't you and John cool? What you think about, you know what I'm saying, what he doing now and blah, blah, blah. Like, what's gonna be your response?
And I'll tell you my response. This is, you know, just as someone who's had to be in like positions like this before, had to like use some kind of tact or whatever. My response would be, listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. John loves X, Y, and Z, and that's his opinion. I don't love X, Y, and Z, and that's my opinion. We're two separate people with two separate opinions. Gotcha. And he's entitled to his opinion, and I'm entitled to mine.
And that's fair. And I think with Kanye, and that's exactly the situation with Kanye. I think if they would have said, because he kind of said that, he was like, I'm not saying everybody needs to think like me, but they literally were like, I don't think they said like, I'm not rocking with Kanye, but they were just kind of like talking bad about him. At least he felt that way in the media. And he's like, no, you, even if you disagree with me, you're supposed to be my boys. Like, y'all can't do that.
That's not, I remember when Kanye West was on, Kanye Kardashian was on Twitter.
Klux Kardashian. That's gonna be the name of this episode.
Yes. I remember when he was on Twitter and he shared like a screenshot of a text message that John Legend sent him. And I remember that because I was like, "Oh, this is messy. Let me get to it.
Right.
Let me get to the mess."
What's going on?
But from what I took from that, people were expressing concern for him just as a person. Like, I don't think it's any secret that KKKK has struggled with mental health challenges, like, in his life. Right. And what is disheartening is that he doesn't like recognize that in himself, which in some like disorders, like, you might not be able to recognize it.
Right.
I know I've worked with students before who've had schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, and because of what those things do to your mind, you're not you view what you say and do and think as normal, and everything else is abnormal. Like everything else is the abnormality, not like these connections that you're making in your mind. And I think that's what I see in him. Like he is like making everybody else and everything else to be like the abnormal thing and not recognizing that in himself, which I understand like why you would like literally you have this mental wellness challenge that you need to work through with like some assistance, maybe a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist, like whoever can help with that. It ain't me. I don't have the skill set for that. Right. But that is like troubling for me to see that in him. And to me, it felt like, at least in that text message from John Legend and like other people, they were like, you need some help. Like you're saying these things and you're saying these things because like you're not getting the help that you need. Like go sit down somewhere and like take care of yourself.
Right.
And he took it to mean like, oh yeah, you know, they're upset about these things that I'm saying. Yes, and you're saying these things because people are connecting them to like your mental wellness, or like seeing signs of like challenges with mental wellness, and you're also talking about these things.
Right.
So I mean, I get that he wants his friends to be loyal or whatever, but let me tell you something. At certain points, friends got to part ways. If you were like, Trump is my man and I'm gonna stick beside him, then you could stick beside him and I'm gonna go to the left.
Ooh. I was rocking with you all the way to that last line. I was, and you know what though? I don't know, maybe
you gotta be honest now. If I was out here rocking this former president, like that's my man, 100 grand, wearing the hat and everything, you would not be my friend.
Okay. But if you change my life though, like you like literally you put me in a position where I could pass wealth, that would be very hard for me to do in public. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be very hard for me to be like, man, I can't rock with Jackie no more. Yeah, we used to be cool, but now she on some other stuff. I can't even get down until she changed her position. Honestly, and I don't know, and that could be. I mean, that's something maybe I need to talk to my counselor about. But like, I don't know, maybe
if you had approached me privately and then I put on social media,
absolutely, yeah.
If I put on social media, here is the screenshot of the text message of John approaching me privately, and he's a sheep.
Oh, right. Okay, well, yeah, then I'll be like, come on, son. Like, why would you do that? Like, I'm coming at you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On some, yo, you my homie type, and then you gonna put that on with your 20 million followers.
However many, yeah.
You know? Okay, I get that. I definitely understand that for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm loyal and probably to a fault. I think I really am loyal to a fault. I think it's definitely gotten me in trouble and, you know, in the past and stuff like that. So that's something I do need to work on. But yeah, I can't do that. It doesn't matter how wrong you are, unless you do something like R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, breaking the law, you like hurting people, you know, unless you're doing something like that. If you just supporting Trump,
so you gonna stick beside him then?
I'm a rock, at least in public. I'm gonna basically say what you said. Like, you know what? That's what Kanye does. I don't really rock with that, but look, that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. That's all I got to say about it. You know.
So you could be loyal to Kanye, and I'm gonna be loyal to Jada. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's been a great episode. You said you love Future, and you know they call her Future. So there you go.
But did she make March Madness though? Until she make a song like March Madness. Have you ever heard March Madness? One of the
No,
greatest songs of all
the
time.
only thing I think of when I think of Future, I think of Mask Off. That's like
Mask Off too. That's a dope song too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, before we go, y'all, we gotta talk about the good sister. The good sister Jada.
I'm gonna just put it out there. I don't think
Let's go to
I don't think Jada is as toxic as she has been made out to be. I definitely think that there have been some headlines that have taken quite a large leap from the truth and what was said and what wasn't said.
For sure. Yeah, she definitely the media did what the media do. Like they took it. I didn't see the interview.
I had to go and watch it.
Oh, you did?
I had to, yeah. And like I enjoy Red Table Talk because like some of these episodes, again, I enjoy mess. So there's some of these episodes I'm like, yes, sign me up. But I haven't watched it. That's appropriate. That's appropriate. But you know, I haven't watched it in at least a year because, you know, just other stuff is taking up my attention, whatever. But I had to actually go and watch it because after I saw the headline and then I read the lines that she said, like the couple sentences that she said, I'm like, I'm missing something. Like, let me just go watch the whole thing and see if I like pick it up in some other part of this episode. Watch the whole thing, and I was like, these people have really,
they took it way,
It's like playing telephone when you start out talking about like, pass me your cell phone, and by the time you get to the end it's like I'm driving your car. Or it's like what, like nobody said nothing close to that.
Right Yeah, that's what I didn't see the episode, but that's what I heard that it was like way out of context. But you know, that's what the media does, and unfortunately, and I'm about to quote another person that y'all think is toxic, my man.
Oh Lord.
You know, nobody want to hear the truth when the lie's more entertaining. Charlemagne the God, you know what I'm saying?
Amber, we have quoted every toxic person.
Amber, you know I'm gonna take advantage of the fact.
Yes.
Charlemagne. I'm gonna bring out all my people, all my brothers.
Amber is like spontaneously combusting. She don't even know why. She's like, why am I so hot right now?
Boosie, don't make me talk about Boosie. Like we got all the toxic people.
Okay. Once Boosie just confesses his love for Lil Nas X, we'll be fine.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Lil Nas X came at him first though. Lil Nas X was.
It don't matter.
He came at him was like, "Oh, me and Boosie making like Boosie was just stop messing with
I didn't even know about that.
You poking the bear. You poking at him. And then when the bear come at you, leave that man alone. Now he should have said. Like Boosie went way overboard by saying,
per usual,
like, you know, you should die and all this other, like that was crazy. But just leave Boosie alone. Why you bother with that man?
Listen, I
ex-felon out this month.
I love Lil Nas X. Oh. That little boy can do no wrong. He's just out here living his life. Y'all bothering him, he gonna bother y'all right back.
Yeah, I wish Boosie, I don't know. But my sister Jada, I do think in that respect, the media definitely blew up this last situation. She never said sex was bad, you know, with her husband or whatever, but just basically talking about the fact that, you know, over time, when you've been with somebody for so long and, you know, you expect them to know certain things and maybe, you know, they don't, or you feel like you may not have to. And so it's this constant communication. But I think she was talking about more so like in general about marriage, not just Will doesn't know how to please me in bed or whatever. I don't think it was anything along those lines. So
That's what I took from it.
yeah, I don't think it was that. However,
Oh Lord.
based on some things that have happened in the past with Jada, Jada has definitely, of course, obviously with the entanglement thing, and
was entangled.
I mean, she
was entangled.
She was entangled. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it seems like they had an open kind of situation. I don't think it was a.
And what's wild is like those have been the rumors for as long as they have been together.
That's very
like
true. That's very true.
It has always been rumored that they be doing what to who, where, when, and how. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it just got to a point where it was stronger than just the physical. I think it was kind of like maybe she had a real connection with, August Alsina or whatever. And the fact that it got out too. I think that's another thing. I think if it would have
probably what it was,
where it was, they would have just continued to be, we would have just thought that they were just this, beautiful, couple that could do no wrong.
It's actually the red table. That's probably what did them in. They probably need to burn that red table because she be calling everybody to the red table.
Calling everybody to the red table.
And had she just, been on the side doing whatever, they probably could have ignored those rumors like they ignored everything else.
That's true.
But you can't sit and, at your little talk show that you have every day with other people talking about their mess and you not talking about your own.
You got to.
So
that's wild. That's wild. I think that, and then on, and I don't think she's done anything toxic since then. I can't think of anything that she's done.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if she did anything after that. I know that, Will came out with his little article. I guess maybe he's on his little press tour for the movie coming up and whatnot. And so they're just dropping these little tidbits here and there about maybe oversharing a little bit. But
it's unfortunate though, because I'm looking at, I follow Will and all that on IG, and you could just kind of tell that while they might still legally be married, they just kind of doing their own life. Yeah, she doing red table and this and that, and he's in movies and losing weight, and they just doing. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know.
If it works for them, it works for them.
Yeah.
I think about some older folks, and certainly the way relationships and marriages are set up these days are probably a little bit different than people who are, I don't know, like 60, 70, whatever. Right. But, I just think about people who are legally married but been separated for like 30 years, So,
that's true.
They might fall under that.
You know what? That's interesting. You said that they might not be as uncommon as we think. I think if some of y'all was to ask y'all grandmas,
exactly,
grandmas, and you start looking back at your family tree, and you see a couple of branches off in the cut that you ain't know was there a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
I mean, it's, marriage is a difficult thing, relationships, and they take all kind of twists and turns and ups, and they take all different forms. And nowadays, all kind of different, alternate forms of relationships are being accepted. So, I think some, I know we're joking and all of that, but I do think that because they're in the spotlight, we're talking about them, but hopefully nobody is really like judging them like that, because relationships are hard, and they can be, you know what I'm saying? Marriages can be hard, and you don't know what the situation is. So however they doing that so that they both are at peace, they've raised their kids, they do their thing. you
And
know.
they've made it work. However, like whatever they came to, they made it work. And I do think that for them, at least, the money and the fame that they have has probably complicated their options, or what they perceive to be their options,
Right.
as it relates to relationships. I mean, I even think about like Beyonce and Jay-Z
Right.
when they went through like their whole thing. At some point, it's like, all right, well, we could separate, but like, who are we going to? Like, if we have this idea of building this $1 billion empire, what happens to this empire if we're not together? And in a lot of ways, like Will has talked about that. Like he has this idea of like family and empire. That's, I think, somewhat different than Beyonce and Jay-Z, but like what happens if there's no Will and Jada together? So,
Yeah. They have I guess they have a lot more to lose, or they have a lot more at stake.
Maybe so.
They put in, certain, not just financially, but just resources, networks. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Like, we don't really know. And like you said, they've probably been having separate relationships and separate entanglements, both, because Jada and Will have both admitted that they've had their own things going on. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, Jada might not be as toxic as we
see. Listen, I can't understand their struggles, because like I said, I was fighting with Expedia for $50. I don't know. I can't explain.
I'm about to act my wage. I'm not about to in
yes.
business.
Correct. I ain't got the answers to that.
That's funny, man. Yo, this was good.
I love mess. We need to do mess more often.
We need to do more mess. We need to do more mess, for real. So what's your takeaway from from this? I can go first if you need some time. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you really got me on the Jada thing. Because I went into this being like, Jada is the next Future. She the future of Black women. And you know what I'm saying? Like, why she on, what I was kind of joking, but kind of serious.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, wow. Yeah, we need to lighten up on Jada. We need to lighten up on Jada and Will. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. So you got me. I pull it back. You know what I'm saying? She not quite as bad as Future. I'm still a fan of March Madness. I still believe March Madness is one of the greatest songs of all time. Future's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love Future. And that's another thing Kanye West said. Kanye West said in the interview, he said the person who has influenced music the most in the past 10 years is Future. He was like, no person has influenced hip hop more than Future has in the past 10 years. And
he might not be wrong. He might not be wrong with all this mumble rap, with all this like
the sound of yeah. That's all Future.
Cat in the Hat rap, yes.
That's all Future and T-Pain. Like that whole sound of music is definitely them. So
all right, well, go ahead, brother Future. My takeaway is just that I need to spend more time in mess. I forgot how much I enjoy mess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be ethically conflicted about being in mess or like enjoying mess, but I do love mess. And so I might need to put aside like at least an hour a week to just be in mess. Yes.
You know what I thought about though, because I know as academics, we're supposed to be in the books and in the articles and writing and researching and teaching and doing all of that. But I love those academics who can make sense of popular culture and couch it within the same stuff that we talk about and make it relevant. Like one of my favorite, the first time I saw that was Michael Eric Dyson was good at that, but he only does it with rap lyrics.
He does, yeah.
But it was who wrote Black feminist thought, that's Patricia Hill Collins. Who wrote Black Sexual Politics? Was that Collins too?
Oh, I don't know.
I think that was Patricia Hill Collins too. I can't remember who wrote. I think it was Hill Collins. But anyway, a woman wrote. I can't even finish that until I say it. I'll just get this part out. Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah. I can't like not say
Black
that.
Sexual.
Black Sexual Politics. I think it was Patricia Hill Collins. Black Sexual. It was okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Black Sexual Politics, Patricia Hill Collins, famous Black woman theoretician and all of that. It came out in 2004, but she took like Missy Elliott, she used like Missy Elliott, Beyonce, like all these different famous artists of the time, and she talked about Black women's sexuality using their videos, using their imagery, using their career. She talked about Claire Huxtable, like all these different things, and she couched it to have a broader conversation around Black women and their bodies and sexuality. Powerful text, and the way in which our society polices and politicizes Black women's bodies. Very, very powerful text. Another person that does a really good job at this is Zandria Robinson. She's a Georgetown professor of sociology, and in her book, This Ain't Chicago, she does a really good job. She talks about the beef between 50 Cent and Soulja Boy, and talks about the regional, like the constructions around regional beef and the way in which Northern people or people from the North view people from the South. Right. So she uses that. She talks about movies like Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, and like all these different things that were popular at the time, and uses that to make sense of this larger like discourse. So I really think it's important for us as scholars to be able to do that, to kind of have our pulse on the culture, have our pulse on these conversations, listen to podcasts, listen to the radio, listen to the mess, the blogs, whatever. Obviously, we don't have to be on there all the time like the kids are, but at least just kind of stay on top of some of it so that we can be able to include this in our work and so that we can be relevant, you know what I'm saying, to our larger population. So, I know this is fun and, we have fun, we have a good time, but it's also very important, you know what I'm saying, this kind of work.
You just made the best argument for mess I have ever heard.
Sociology of mess.
I would be in my office. My colleagues are going to be like, "Oh, what you doing?" I would be like, "I'm working. I'm on the shade room."
The shade room working. Let me tell you something. Yeah, man. I just started following the shade room like a couple months ago, and it was one of the best decisions I could have made. I really should have been following them. They really be, they be keeping.
Maybe I need to follow it.
Yeah, they be keeping me up to date. I like it, but I do like being able to do that, and then being able to have these because like a really good example. I teach African history. Shout out to the Come Up Project, which is an organization. Shout out to my homie Abby, who we've been doing like community work for over a decade now, and she finally got a grant to help young people who like went to jail, and so now they're to keep them from going back or to like fulfill like maybe like parole or stuff like that. She has this program, right? But it's not just your average community service program, job training program. Like she wants to teach them about who they are. So it's very African centered, you know what I'm saying? So I teach, African history classes for them. And so, but sometimes, so obviously I'm teaching stuff that might be boring to them or whatever, but I also try to bring in like, I'll be like, yo, did y'all see Snoop Dogg on $1 Million Worth of Game? And like, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's that podcast with like, Gilly the Kid and Wild. So just trying to do things to bring those connections. And so to let them know we're not as different as sometimes, we might seem, or we're not as different as our age or my experiences or our experiences might be, you know what I'm saying? And so, I think it is important for us scholars to be able to, to do that.
Yeah. You inspire me. That's my takeout box right there. Get into the mess. Get into what's going on. And it's important. It's important as all these other stuff, these other things that we are doing. So
all right. So look, when y'all look at Jacademician followers, she's gonna be following the Shade Room. She's gonna be following Boosie.
Oh Lord. Listen, I will say that I guess this might have been like 2 years ago when he came out with those videos talking about Wipe Me Down was the Kappa anthem and he needed to learn how to shimmy. I was on the floor. The floor.
Yo, that was so funny because you know he's not even. I don't know if Boosie ever been to college. Like he probably don't know nothing about that. He was like, I just thought it was some letters. I didn't know it was a thing.
Listen,
no, it was just different.
I was tickled. I might need to go find that and just laugh at that tonight.
Speaking of which, and I know this is old, but isn't it kind of like the Insecure episode? They was getting on Issa Rae about that.
Yeah, they sure were.
The jury is still out.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't kept up with that story. I know that there were some of the members who were upset, like you shouldn't be like wearing these certain items and things like that. But I was under the impression that they had cleared all that with like the national office and all that stuff.
Right.
So maybe they didn't do all the right clearances. I don't know. We have to see, I guess.
Last I heard that they didn't clear it.
Oh.
So
ooh.
I don't know. AKA is gonna be ski win all over Inglewood.
Listen. Don't cancel. Do not cancel Issa because I'm trying to see what happens with Lawrence and them the rest of the season. So
all right, Issa, you might get canceled. You might be right along.
Listen.
Rest of them, Kanye on Drake champs with Kanye.
As long as she don't put that red hat on, she's gonna be all right.
She's gonna be all right. We love Issa, man. Shout out to Issa, man. She doing great work. I love what she doing.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, it's been another episode, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep one foot in the academy and one foot in the streets. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank y'all for the people who comment on our YouTube. We do be getting comments on our YouTube and people who comment on our Instagram and all of that. We appreciate that. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Follow us at Street Academy Podcast, at Jacademician, at J. Paul Grant, at Amber Camilla. And we will see y'all next time. Peace.
That you know got their feet upon the neck of the haters, the game and the devil like came in.